Yo, what's cracking everyone? Ericship 111 here. So with Forza Horizon 5 getting closer to launch each day, the team over at Playground Games seem to be revealing more new cars from the game as of late. A couple of weeks ago, we got the reveal of the brand new 2020 Toyota Supra GR, and just yesterday, this new car, the Sierra Cars RX-3, was revealed on their Twitter. I'm not exactly sure how they will be revealing more cars from their list or when we will see the final car list. Maybe this Twitter reveal might be a daily or weekly thing, but there's still so many requests from you, the subscribers, that I can only imagine is not feasible nor possible to bring into the franchise. Not to get too technical, but in order for your favorite cars or manufacturers to appear in a game like Forza Horizon 5, a dedicated team from the developers will reach out and get in contact with all of these manufacturers, and they will offer a contract or negotiate a deal where both parties are satisfied to then be granted the licenses to use the manufacturer's trademarks, likeness, and brands in the game. But sometimes things do happen and manufacturers can choose to pull out or not renew their licenses with the game, forcing the developers to not feature them in their future titles, or sometimes certain car manufacturers are tied to specific contracts which prohibits them from appearing in other video games. So with that said, and with more cars likely to be revealed in the upcoming weeks, here are 5 car brands that you won't see in Forza Horizon 5 and why. Starting off with number 1, Roof. First off, yes, that is how you pronounce the name. I know someone watching will incorrectly correct me down in the comment section below, but trust me, even I was a bit skeptical as to why it's not pronounced like a small dog barking. But for those who don't know, Roof is a German manufacturer that essentially builds and engineers vehicles from unmarked Porsche chassis. Many of the parts you see in their vehicles are made directly from Roofs themselves, therefore is actually classified in Germany as a manufacturer rather than a tuner. So within the Horizon franchise, the last time we saw this car brand was back in Forza Horizon 2, and the only reason why we got some of these awesome quote-unquote modified Porsches was because for years prior to even when the Forza franchise even began, Electronic Arts had an exclusive license to use Porsche in their Need for Speed titles. This then barred any other racing video games from using that brand directly. Therefore, if you wanted to drive a Porsche, you had to purchase a Need for Speed title. Now, from Forza Motorsport 1 through to Motorsport 3, Turn 10 was able to strike a sub-licensing deal with Electronic Arts to use Porsche in their franchise, which then later ended up being revoked when Forza Motorsport 4 launched, thus removing Porsche and simultaneously introducing Roof into the Forza franchise. Now, in Motorsport 4 and Horizon 2, you may have noticed that Porsche was introduced as paid DLC, granting all of our favorite Porsches again in the Forza franchise, but this was a very expensive deal Turn 10 had to strike up with EA. I believe a big portion of the revenue generated from these Porsche DLCs went directly to Electronic Arts. Now fast forward to the end of 2016, just after the launch of Horizon 3, it was public knowledge that the exclusive deal between EA and Porsche would expire very shortly, which is why we also saw another Porsche DLC in Horizon 3 around 6 months after launch, as they weren't able to include them when the game first released. But along with that, also not renewing the license with Roof anymore. Since then, of course, with Horizon 4 and Horizon 5, we have seen multiple Porsches featured, but that is at the cost of Roof, unfortunately disappearing from the franchise. Honestly, if it wasn't for the exclusive deal with EA, I probably wouldn't have even known about Roofs, so maybe it was a blessing in disguise, and huge props to them for carrying the back for many other racing games while their cousins were stuck in an unhappy marriage. Number 2, Skoda. Now, I've seen some of you down in the comment section of my Forza Horizon 5 videos asking, can we please get Skoda into the game? Now, I'm sure many players probably don't even know this manufacturer, and I gotta admit, if it wasn't for me watching the World Rally Championships back in the late 90s and early 2000s, I probably wouldn't have heard of Skoda either. But they are a Czech Republic car manufacturer founded back in 1895, now under the Volkswagen umbrella, but they don't really produce the most exciting vehicles if I'm honest, but still very good nonetheless. Their lineup mainly consists of sedans, hatchbacks and SUVs, all mainly targeting families or people who are really sensible. But as I said before, their one exciting aspect is in motorsports with the WRC, and that is where the issue lies. Apparently Skoda has signed an exclusive deal to only appear in games with the official WRC license. Now there's not much detail about the contract between the two parties, but some may speculate, well, if it's just their rally cars, surely we might see some production vehicles in Horizon 5? Well, not exactly. Perhaps Skoda may have signed off their entire likeness, trademark and use to WRC like Porsche did with EA, but some rumors are also circulating around that Volkswagen don't want Skoda to be shared together in the same video game, as it may take some of the spotlight away from VW. In my opinion, I don't think that's the case at all, and on a grander scale, it seems as though WRC and Skoda have been very happy with their exclusive licensing, and the Forza franchise seems to be okay with not featuring Skoda in their titles. Number 3, Saab. Again, like Skoda, many of you have been asking, will Saab be brought into Horizon 5? Now, unlike Skoda, which has never appeared in any Forza titles, Saab has been in previous Forza games before, from the original Motorsport title all the way to Motorsport 4, so there's at least some ground to work with here. But unfortunately, Saab, at least the automotive division, has been defunct since 2013. It filed for bankruptcy in the early 2010s due to poor decision making and partnerships throughout the years, ultimately leading to the manufacturer eventually being run down to the ground. If you want a more in-depth explanation about Saab and their bankruptcy, there's plenty of articles and YouTube videos about it, which I won't go into detail here, but it's because of this bankruptcy, which is why since Motorsport 4, Saab has no longer been featured. Companies like NEVS, also known as the National Electric Vehicle Sweden, eventually acquired all the assets for Saab Automotive after its bankruptcy, but then was later cancelled by Saab AB, who are the main Saab company that focuses on aerospace technology. Not only that, General Motors still holds certain rights to Saab as well. It's unfortunately a messy situation, and I don't think the team over at Playground Games would want to jump through hoops and hurdles set on fire just to have them in Horizon 5, where I would also presume most Saabs haven't even been updated since their Xbox 360 models. So the time, money for such a small selection of cars for a very focused cult following, I guess it just doesn't seem like it's worth all that effort. Number 4, Rolls-Royce. Now, if you look at the entire history of video games, Rolls-Royce has only been featured in a small amount of racing games in a very short period of time. Yeah, sure, throughout some other racing titles, we've seen unmarked or unlicensed versions, but to see properly licensed Rolls-Royce is almost like seeing a unicorn. But how on earth did Playground Games and Turn 10 manage to gain licenses for the Dawn and Wraith? Sure, these cars were featured in Motorsport 6, Horizon 3 and Motorsport 7, but to me, as much as I knew they were very special vehicles, especially in real life, I didn't know how exclusive they were when it comes to video games. Now, with the Horizon lineup, it only featured in number 3. It didn't appear in Horizon 4, even though the game was pretty much set in its backyard. So it's interesting to speculate what deal was made with Rolls-Royce. What I suspect was that a 3-year deal was signed, hence the game in which they were featured in, and also given how popular the Forza series was, Rolls-Royce just said, why not? but once the license deal ran out, the manufacturer probably never re-signed again for the same reason as to why it doesn't appear in many video games in the first place, and that is because they want real customers to experience their cars for real. So this looks to be a special one-off collaboration of some sort with Rolls-Royce and Forza, and I can almost speculate with certainty that we won't see Rolls-Royce at least at the launch for Horizon 5, and maybe possibly for a very, very long time. And lastly, number 5, Tesla. This one is interesting. Tesla seem to have hopped in and out from time to time. They've appeared in Motorsport 4, then they were missing in Motorsport 5, then reappeared in Motorsport 6, Horizon 2 and Horizon 3, and was never seen again. Not exactly sure as to why Tesla pulled their licensing, but it seems as though Tesla eventually ended up pulling their licenses away from all video racing games. Tesla nor Playground Games or Turn 10 explained the fall in relationship. Some have speculated it had something to do with Tesla's no advertising campaign, where the company spends $0 on advertising, as Papa Musk really hates it and would rather spend the time, money and resources to create something innovative rather than artificially pushing their brand. And because of this reason, we most likely won't see Tesla in Forza Horizon 5, as to be fair, featuring your car in a video game is some form of advertising. So there we have it guys, 5 car brands that won't appear in Forza Horizon 5. Remember, things can still change on the fly, so do take this video with a grain of salt. It'll either age like milk or fine wine. I guess I'll find out very soon. But what do you guys think? You reckon these car brands will return to Forza Horizon 5? Let me know down in the comments section below. Anyways, if you guys did enjoy this video, please make sure to smash the thumbs up button, as that would really help me out. And lastly, if you guys would like to see more Forza Horizon 5 news, updates, and possibly some early gameplay, make sure to click the subscribe button with notifications turned on. That way you won't ever miss out on another video that goes live, and I hope to see you guys in the next video. Peace.